Tamaya, can you please state your name for the court?
Yes, Tamaya Harris.
Thank you. Good morning, Ms. Harris.
Good morning.
We're here for sentencing today. Have you had a chance to review the report with your client?
Reviewed it, Your Honor. I don't have any corrections to make to the report or anything like that. Like a few words to say about the recommendation at the appropriate time.
Thank you. Ms. Woods?
We also had an opportunity to review the PSIR recommendation. I agree with the recommendation and amount of probation. So I'd ask the court to follow the recommendation from that report. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Mr. Bernstein.
Thank you, Your Honor. I see what Ms. Harris wrote. She said, I don't mind being on probation and, whatever the court deems acceptable. I mean, I think there's a little mitigation in the fact pattern of what happened. I do appreciate that she's taking responsibility for interfering with the police. I think she knows it's something that she shouldn't have done. But, I'm reading this police report that, she calls the cops to say that a guy's putting his hands on her, and then the cops show up, and then this guy comes to the door and starts yelling to the point that the cops can't even really talk to her anymore. And then the situation really just devolves into focusing on controlling this guy. And, I mean, she shouldn't have interfered with that from that point. She did. I don't know if it was like a show of loyalty or whatever. I watched the video and the police keep asking her afterwards, like, hey, do you still want to talk about the DV? Do you want to talk about the DV? And she says no, but I think some things kind of got lost in what happened in the case. And I feel sorry for Ms. Harris for that, Your Honor. I'm heartened that nevertheless she did recognize that she shouldn't have interfered with the police no matter what. And that shows a lot of insight on her behalf. I don't know what specifically the classes that's being recommended. It could be helpful. I don't think she would mind taking it. My recommendation, just giving everything and knowing her, would be that she takes the class and close the case out, Your Honor. That would be my request.
All right. Ms. Woods, you may proceed.
Judge, I think that the time frame, the 9 months, is appropriate in this case. Judge, I mean, she called police showed up, they tried to do an investigation. When they tried to arrest the person who committed the crime, the defendant here, Ms. Harris, actively got in the way. She actually was grabbing at the officer an attempt to pull the officer off of the person that they're trying to detain and take into custody to help her in this situation. So, Judge, I believe she does need classes, and I believe she does need some supervision. And what she did was wrong. She shouldn't have tried to get in the way of the officers doing their job. And that's exactly what she was trying to do, Judge.
Did you read her statement about why she was trying to do that and what her concerns were for her? I mean, people call police, but their loved ones at that point. She was concerned about him. Did you read that part?
Judge, I do understand her concerns, but at the same point, officers have a duty. They were doing what they were supposed to do. And if she wouldn't have gotten involved, I don't think it would have had gotten to the place that it did.
What do you mean by that?
Getting involved with the arrest of Alante Lindsay.
When you said it wouldn't have gotten to the place that it did, what are you referring to? What place?
Where we are today. If she would have
I don't think she's denying that. That's not what she's saying. She's saying I accept responsibility for doing what I did. They're arguing that she shouldn't have to do 9 months of probation for the situation, which is not the same as saying I'm not guilty and I didn't do anything wrong. She's saying she did something wrong. She acknowledges she shouldn't have gotten into it. The question is, what should the repercussion look like? So the question really for me is whether or not, because she tried to help in a situation where she shouldn't have, she committed a crime, she's accepted responsibility for that. Does she need 9 months of probation for how all of this happened? As the victim of a situation, she's calling on someone, she clearly loves that person because she's in a relationship with him. And then he escalates it, clearly he does, by coming behind her back. And I read the whole report because I was concerned about what this looked like. He comes behind her. He starts yelling at the officers. The officers try to get him under control, and he doesn't get under control. Then 4 officers are on top of him after he's just had surgery. So she's concerned about him getting seriously hurt. So her impulse, and I believe she needs the class, I'm not denying that, was to jump in it. It's a situation where now she, as the victim, is charged because of how this went down. So the question is, what should the repercussion be? Not that she didn't do anything wrong, as I understand it.
Yes, Judge, and I agree with what the probation is asking for, Judge, based on the totality of the circumstances.
All right, thank you. Ms. Harris, what would you like to say, ma'am?
I don't have anything to say.
Well, as I just articulated, you clearly were in the wrong. But you're clearly already in a distressful situation. It was just, as Mr. Bernstein said, this devolved into a mess because of who you're dating, and still, I don't even know if you're still in a relationship with this individual. So they came there to help you, and then it devolved. So this court's question really is, what should your repercussion look like? And what would have made a difference in you choosing to do something different that day?
There was just a lot going on that day. I mean, I don't mind being on probation and dropping if that's what she recommends, or being on probation for 9 months. I am 11 weeks pregnant, so I don't mind doing none of the classes or dropping or anything like that. I was just in a difficult situation and I was scared at the moment and I called. So
Yeah, I know. All right. It is the sentence of this court, ma'am, that you serve 365 days in the Washington County Jail, credit to serve. All the balance of that time is suspended, so you don't have to do any jail time as long as you do what you're asked to do here in court, okay?
okay.
I am going to place you on probation, and I'm going to place you on probation for a total of 6 months. So if you get all this done in the first 3 months, then you can be off probation, okay?
Okay.
Fines and court costs in this particular case for a total of $325. You must meet with probation when and where directed, including any and all home visits. You must complete the Crossroads Impulse Control Program. You must make legitimate efforts to maintain employment. There's no assaultive or threatening behavior towards anyone. You must submit to and pay and be responsible for any random drug and alcohol tests, but none are being required at this time. There's no use or for possession of alcohol, marijuana, illegal drugs, firearm components, ammunition, or other dangerous weapons. I'm going to do a review in 3 months, so that's 90 days. And at that point, we'll see if you've done all the things you're supposed to do, which really boils down to pay your fines and costs, complete the program, and make sure you don't basically violate these orders by assaulting anybody else. So if you've done those things, then at that time you would be eligible for early discharge. Do you understand that part, ma'am?
Yes.
All right. So do what you got to do, get it done, and then you can be discharged from probation. I will see you back here on August 14th, 2025.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome.